Everton took a step closer towards Premier League safety. They're doing it again. That means that Burnley, Luton and Nottingham Forest all need to be as perfect as possible in the run-in to try and play Premier League football next season. So we're going to have a little look at it and put forward who we think might make it out alive. Burnley are currently second bottom. Sheffield United are cut adrift now with 16 points. Burnley with 23 points at the time of recording, 25 points for Luton and 26 points for Nottingham Forest. Let's start off with Nottingham Forest, and they've had a week. They've had a few weeks. I would also say that, like, in terms of, obviously we're going to talk about the tweet.
Yeah.
But what I want to know is, what is the effect of that going into these last few games? In terms of the games that they got coming up, the remaining fixtures, Man City next up, then Sheffield United away, Chelsea at home, Burnley away. So some winnable games in there. And, that last game against Burnley could be absolutely enormous if Burnley, who've got the best form of all three at the moment, can continue to, pick up points along the way. The Clattenburg stuff, the problems with the referees. We've seen Burnley get annoyed about this, Everton get annoyed about this, Wolves get annoyed about this, but Forest as well. Do you think that whole furore will affect the games moving on in a good or a bad way, or not? It
depends on how Nuno can harness it, because he's getting dragged into it now. He's been asked about it in every single post-match and pre-match interview. And they're just a mental football club, Nottingham Forest, in terms of the way they approach it, their transfers, their owner. It's all just crazy and haphazard. And as a result of that, I want them to stay up. I enjoy them. Yeah, I do enjoy them. And I've got a soft spot for a lot of Nottingham Forest players. And they've got good players. They've got a good squad as well.
Yeah. I think that's what I find a bit funny about Nottingham Forest. Is I think they have got a really good squad. I think they've got a better squad than Everton, actually.
Yeah, 100%.
But the style of football under Cooper and under Nuno is, it's very transition, it's very counter-attacking, and it's kind of, it's conservative, pragmatic, and a bit boring, I think, at times as well. When you've got Hudson-Odoi there and Alanga there and Morgan Gibbs-White, that's an amazing front three. Chris Wood's got a conversion rate of 39% or something. I've never seen that number before.
And just get your head on it.
So, but I guess it's because he's not getting that many chances. He's got to take all those chances.
Well, look at it. Like, Wanyu's obviously missed large parts of the season because of injury, but your striking options are Wanyu and Chris Wood. Chris Wood perennially, every year, barring the spell at Newcastle, will give you double-figure Premier League goals. He's a great striker to have, and we've seen him on form this season as well. I just think that they could combust Nottingham Forest. They've got great fixtures to end this season, barring the Man City game, which we all expect them to lose. Sheffield United away, Chelsea at home.
One win in the last 9.
That's a problem.
Horrible.
That's a problem. And Chris was kind of dried up with goals recently, but I do fancy Nottingham Forest to pick up some points in their last 4 games. It's just whether the teams around them will carry on picking up points. Burnley are in good form right now, and that's an issue for them. But they take on Burnley in the last game of the season, a game that you talk about 6-pointers. That one is just that's a £1 million game. That's a multi-million pound game because there's so much at stake. But in terms of Nottingham Forest and dealing with the outside noise, they have to try and find a way of quieting it down, because everybody's talking about them, whether it's people on Twitter, whether it's the pundits on TV, and everyone's got an opinion about it, and you don't.
Are they
need
the
that
bad
noise.
guys?
But you got to have, there's chaos at the bottom of the table. You got to have that sometimes.
Are they the bad guys?
I think they are the bad guys.
Because if
Luton are the good guys.
Luton are the protagonists. So Nottingham Forest are definitely the antagonists. And then Burnley are the underdogs. Burnley nobody saw coming. They're now on a march. But yeah, I think Forest are the bad guys, and maybe they can harness that. But I do have a funny feeling that it could come back to bite them a little bit.
Let's touch on Burnley then, because I think, like you said, of the form, you've got Luton, who've got 1 win in the last 13. We'll touch on them in a second. Burnley, only 2 defeats in the last 8 matches, 4-1 win in the last game, granted against Sheffield United. And the remaining fixtures for them, Man United away, Newcastle at home, Tottenham away, and as we said, that Nottingham Forest match. I remember Vincent Kompany saying there was 6 games to go, and he said, we've been the better team in the last 6 games. We need to be the better team in the next 6 games and try and win them all.
Yeah.
If they're, again,
they're
3 points off though. Mm-hmm. They're only 3 points off.
It sounds so simple, but they're definitely asking for too much. It could be done, but there's the inconsistency. I know they've had the best form out of the 3 teams there. Well, not including Sheffield actually, but it's too much inconsistency with the teams at the bottom. So you never know what's going to happen. I feel like Burnley, of course, all it takes is a draw and a win that could keep them. A draw and a win will be could keep them safe.
Well, that's okay. That's a good thing, right? So 26 points for Nottingham Forest at the moment. 34 games. We've only got 4 games left, right? How many points do you think keeps you up out of those guys?
Okay, so looking at the table right now. Burnley on 23, Luton on 25, and Forest on 26. I think if you're...
Because Burnley can get to 35.
If you're Burnley looking to get to 30 and hope stuff goes your way.
Yeah, that's hoping that the other teams don't pick up the points as well.
So that would mean, say they get to 30, which is, what's that? That's 2 wins and a draw.
Okay.
That's great going in your last 4 games.
Yeah, that's true.
But look who they're facing: Man United,
but then they've
Newcastle.
But Man United.
Come on.
I think do you know what could really come home to roost in a good way is that if you've got to go and win games, you've got to go and be able to play. Yeah. And Burnley, throughout the season have gone for it. And to the point where they've been, every game's been a bit precarious and they've made silly mistakes and so I get it. I think they've done really well to kind of be back. When I look at the table, I was like, you thought they were adrift, and they're right in it. And so I think as whatever's happened up till now doesn't really matter anymore. Like literally every game, like with us when it gets to it doesn't matter who you're playing. If it's playing Southampton at home,
you just need.
You're just like every game turns into a cup final, and so it can be done.
The problem is we're talking about these 2 teams, Burnley and Forest. But if you look at Luton, they've got winnable fixtures.
Yeah, they're the better team, if we're honest.
Better team as well. Wolves not playing for anything. Everton basically not playing for anything anymore. West Ham not playing for anything apart from Moyes' pride. And Fulham are on the beach.
Yeah. 3 out of those 4 games at home as well.
So it's in Luton's hands, really, in my opinion, because you go against these teams and you've shown you can score goals. In recent weeks, they've conceded way too many goals. Back-to-back 5-1 losses. Can't happen at this stage of the season. It's affected their goal difference massively. Yeah. But they can score goals, and we've seen them score goals this season. Bring them back to Kenny, get the job done, and stay up, because that would be a miracle in terms of what we expected of Luton this season. We thought Luton would be Sheffield United. I know Sheffield United let go of Iliman Jay, and that was a big loss for them and Sandberger. But really and truly, we thought Luton might match Burnley, not Burnley, Derby in terms of the record amount of points in the Premier League, in terms of minimum amount of points achieved in the Premier League. But they've done such a good job, and now they've got 4 games that they know that feasibly they could win 2 or 3 out of these 4 games and stay up.
The thing is, out of the bottom 3, Luton's the one that I personally want to stay up, because they've had the most, out of the 3 teams, they've played the most enjoyable football. They've had the most enjoyable games. They've come against top 6 teams and taken it to them at Kenilworth Road. They've been the most entertaining team, and they've got players that can do it for them. Yeah. So you just want that. They're going for this really bad patch at the moment, but if we take away this bad patch from the season, they've kind of had the fairy tale season.
Yeah.
The thing with Luton, and ESPN's very own Ned Manua said this to me. He put me straight. He said, if you look at their stats, I can't get it in front of me now, but I remember what it was. They are, in terms of their XG against in open play, so the chance that are being created against them aside from set pieces, they're about 10 goals clear of the next worst.
Interesting.
Oh, really?
So although they've had a go,
and
they concede a lot of chances, and also sort of like all those games that they've kind of given it a go. Again, it's you can applaud that. I don't think it's going to keep you up. And they've also got quite a few injuries as well. Yeah. I think Luton are in big trouble. State, that Brentford result, look, Brentford are a very well put together team, but they absolutely destroyed them. Yeah. Absolutely destroyed them. So let's get to the prediction side of it. I'm going to ask 2 questions, because I wonder if we'll have the same answer on the first one. First of all, who out of those 3 do you think will stay up?
That I want to stay up or will stay up? Will.
I'm not bothered about who you want. You made it very clear you want to stay. Who do you think will stay up? If you had to put, you had to put your mortgage on it. If you've got mortgage.
Forest.
Kweku?
Put my mortgage on it. It's
not literally.
It's tough.
Yeah, it's not that heavy.
I would say Luton.
Really?
Just because of strength of schedule. And Forest, there's so much outside noise. Who I want to stay up, Forest, but there's a lot of outside noise there, and it would just be fitting for them to end up getting relegated off the back of this. I think Luton, based on the fixtures between now and the end of the season, should stay up.
Here's a curveball. I thought we were all going to say Forest. And I think that the sort of sensible money is on Forest, because I think they have the quality there to do it. They've got a lot more quality than the other guys. But yeah, you talk about the noise around Forest, but I think one victory and that kind of can get forgotten, and their fixtures are. Although I guess the thing is as well, the next game's against Man City. Say they lose that, which you'd expect, and the other guys, either of the other guys, get points, then all of a sudden they are right into it, because it is so tight there.
Yeah.
I think my second question was going to be, if it's not Forest, who would it be? I think Burnley have got a real shot here.
Yeah.
I really
interesting
do.
to see, though. Really interesting.
I really do. I think they've got a real chance here. I cannot see Luton staying up anymore.
That's
Really?
James. That's James really predicting Burnley to beat Man United.
Yeah, but I tell you what I did say, if it's any consolation to anyone, to get your predictions in the comments down below. I predicted a couple of weeks ago that Palace wouldn't win another game this season. They won all three. So I might even be four. So yeah, don't listen to me anymore, because the video's finished. Let us know your thoughts.